Hello, happy Thursday. Welcome to Exercise with Exos. I'm Coach Jazzi here, and I have fun ghost-filled workout for us today again. So we're going to be filling out ghosts today. We are going to do 3 rounds, 45, 15, and it's going to be different than what we did yesterday. Similar, but different. So I'm going to go ahead real quick with demos, and then we will get right into it. So first movement here, we're going to start off with some glute bridge marches. So we're going to be on our back, on the ground, pushing through our heels. Hips are nice and tall. Exhaling, driving one knee up at a time. So that is going to be our G. And then for the H, we're going to do some high knees. So for this one, we are going to be getting our knees up nice and tall, alternating here, getting those knees nice and high. If that's not feeling good for you today, you can switch to more of a skip or a march. The goal here is just really getting our core engaged, our hip flexors, and also our heart rate up. So that's going to be that. And then for the O, we're going to do plank knee to opposite elbows, getting on the ground, exhaling, bringing our knee across our body, tapping it to the opposite side knee, opposite side elbow. And then for the first S, because we have a plural ghosts, we're going to do a narrow squat. So for narrow squats, our feet are not touching, but they are almost touching. And then we're going to do a regular squat form. So we have a narrow stance, going down as far as we can and back up. So we are going to feel this one a little bit more in our quads. Since our feet are narrow, we want to push through our whole foot. Then for our T, we're going to do some bent over T's. Really always working on our posture. So pushing our hips back, bring our arms all the way out to the side and back down. So doing that bent over T for the T. And then finally, we will be doing some drop squats for the last S. So for the drop squat, we're going to be up with our hands above our head. We're going to be on our toes. And we're basically going to come down and land in a squat. Well, we want our balance here. So we're starting up tall on our toes. And we land nice and soft in a squat. So we're not necessarily jumping. We don't have to make a lot of noise, but the goal is to really work on our landing mechanics. So that is going to be our whole circuit for today. So let's go ahead and start off with our warm-up. And I'm going to switch it up on us today. We're going to do something on the ground. So we're going to go ahead and make our way to our hands and our knees. And we're going to start off with some quadruped rocks here. And we're going to add that nice adductor stretch in here. So I know it's been a while since we've done something different, but I'm switching it up. So making our way to our hands and our knees. We're going to take one of our feet. We're going to stick it straight out to the side. We're going to keep our whole foot on the ground. And then from here, we're going to inhale, rock back. And exhale, coming forward. So we're going to do 4 total on each side. So we're going to go ahead, coming back again as we inhale. And exhaling, coming back forward. 2 more, coming back. And forward. And last one, rocking back. And forward. And after we finish our last one, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. So from our hands and our knees, one of our feet sticking out to the side, keeping our whole foot flat on the ground. Our core is engaged. We're inhaling, rocking back. Exhale, forward. Inhaling back. Exhaling, forward. And last one, rocking back. And forward. We can go ahead, bring our knee back up underneath our hip. Now we're going to go ahead from here. We're going to tuck our toes. Let's go ahead, push ourselves up into some down dog. We're going to go ahead, pedal our heels. We're going to do at least 1 breath per side. You can switch at your own pace. Really opening up our calves. It's going to help us with our squats and stuff. Then we're going to go ahead, push our heels into the ground. Poke our head in between our arms. Let's go ahead and come back down to plank. Let's just go ahead and do 2 quick ones. We're not doing too much upper body today. And one more. And then let's go ahead. You can drop your knees down to the ground and make your way onto your backs. We're going to go ahead and get started. So starting off, we are doing glute bridge marches. So getting on the ground on our backs. We are going to do 3 rounds, 45, 15. Let me get my timer going here. 3, 2, 1, and go. So on the ground, on our back, feet hip width apart, pushing our hips towards the ceiling, and then exhaling, bringing one knee up at a time. So we're driving through one heel and then exhaling, using our core to bring our knee in. So making sure they have our heels planted. They're staying hip width apart. It's really tempting to kind of bring them in closer to give us a little bit more stability, but that's half the battle. The core work here is keeping our feet hip width and driving up. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we're standing on up. We have high knees. You can also, like I said in the demos, you can skip or march, whatever feels good. 3, 2, 1. So we're getting our knees up. We're basically running in place. My head is getting cut off. Let me fix this. We want to keep our core engaged, just like with a skip or a march. When we're getting our knees up, we really do want to try and get our knees as high as we can. Our core is engaged. It's definitely a cross between like a skip and a march and a run, basically. But getting our arms moving here as well. Like I said, if you need to, you can always march instead or do a skip or run, whatever feels best. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up for the O, plank, knee to opposite elbow. My least favorite. Not really my least favorite. It's just hard. 3, 2, 1. All right. So we're getting ready, right? Screw our hands into the ground. Upper body is nice and tight. Exhale. Coming across. I was just doing it as I was about to say it. So making sure too, we're not looking down. We're looking a little bit further out, keeping our gaze out so that way our neck is not getting compressed. I think it's a habit by now for just to kind of look down because I feel like our heads are like that a lot during the day while we're working, we're on our phones, all that. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have narrow squats. So knees, oh my gosh, feet. We're not fully touching, but they're really close together. They're definitely closer than hip width. 3, 2, 1. So everything else stays the same. Chest stays up. If you see here from this angle, my knees are still going out past my second toe. So everything stays the same, but with a different foot placement, we are going to feel it a little bit differently within our legs. So this is going to be a little bit more quad focused versus something like a sumo squat is going to be more glute focused. And if you're noticing your depth is different, that's totally okay. When we change our feet position and the way our body moves, sometimes it's going to change the way things feel. So all good there. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, we have bent over tees, working on our posture and our back strength here. 3, 2, 1. So pushing your hips back, bring our arms all the way up and back down. So I like to really reset here, right? We're pulling our shoulder blades down and back and then moving our arms up and back down. So really important that we bring everything down and together through our back. Moving nice and slow. We really want to feel this in the backs of our shoulders. Great job. Slow it down, make it a little bit more challenging. Make sure we're sinking into our hips. We're not just bending forward. We're pushing our hips back. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. All right, last part of round 1, we have drop squats. So for this, we're starting up nice and tall on our toes, landing in our squat. 3, 2, 1. So coming all the way up, reaching above head, making sure our shoulders and our ears have the space between them. Landing nice and soft. So the goal of this one is to really work on our eccentric strength because we're having to stop ourselves as we get into the bottom of the squat. So if you do a lot of like running, this is a great way to train for that. If you do, even with running with landing mechanics, even walking, really just making sure that we're landing, right? Sinking into our hip. We don't want to land with all the force on our knees. That's going to put pressure on our joints. Our glutes have a lot more muscle on them. 3, 2, 1. So that's a great way to kind of work on the strength for our glutes. All right, 1 round down, 2 to go. Glute bridge marches. 3, 2, 1. So tucking our hips, pushing them towards the ceiling. Exhaling, 1 knee at a time. The slower you move, the more likely you are to get that really good mind to muscle connection. We want to exhale, bring our core down and together as we move our knee through the core. So our core is doing the more work than our legs are, but our glutes are doing a lot of the stability. So great pillar movement for us today. 3, 2, 1. It's basically like doing plank knee to elbow, but on our backs, essentially. All right, we got high knees next. 3, 2, 1. All right. So again, you can march, skip, or do your high knees. Regardless of which one we're doing, we're still moving our arms. We're getting our knees up. Being light on our feet if we can. Stay nice and tall through our torso. Let me get my arms moving the same way because we do really want to keep it, right? Opposite arm, opposite leg, much like with our marches or skips. Skip for a second. 3, 2, 1. Okay, try not to get too out of breath for you. Okay. Plank knee to opposite elbow. 3, 2, 1. All right, so we're resetting here, screwing our hands on the ground, back is flat. Belly button is going to our spine. Butt is tucked into our belly button. We're looking forward. All right, very similar, right? Like I was saying, the glute bridge marches, except for this time, our shoulders are basically doing what our glutes were doing earlier. So similar, but different. Three, 2, 1. All right. Okay. Next up, narrow squats. So feet are staying in between, inside of our hips, not necessarily touching. 3, 2, 1. So again, going as low as we can. If you notice, again, the form is the same. Back is still flat because we're tucking our butt to our belly button. Our core is engaged. We're wearing our logo proud. We're inhaling down, exhaling up. pushing through our whole foot. Great job. 3, 2, 1. All right. Next up, bent over tees, and then we have drop squats, and then we have one more round. 3, 2, 1. So sinking into our hips. Glutes are going back. We're closing that door behind us. If you find that you are feeling like your low back is holding the brunt of everything, feel free to go ahead, lay down, face down. So very similar yesterday to our Supermans that we did. We are flat on the ground, but then just moving our arms off the ground there. So it's gonna take away the low back. It's also gonna take away any momentum we might be using. And it's really gonna force us to use just the backs of the shoulders. So that is always an option. 3, 2, 1. All right. The last movement of round 2, we have drop squats. Then we're gonna run it back for one more round. 3, 2, 1. Coming up on our toes, landing nice and soft. So this is where our pedaling of our heels is gonna come in. So I know I definitely feel that in my calves just by being up on my toes. I actually was wearing heels the other day. My foot has not been in that position in a long time, and I was definitely not used to it. Coming from someone who literally wears sneakers every single day. So, but again, always good to work on our calf strength. That's going to help with our ankle mobility, and that's going to help us get into the bottom of our squat a little bit better. So think of this as also helping us squat a little bit better. 3, 2, 1. All right, 2 rounds down, 1 to go. Last ghost round here. Glute bridge marches. 3, 2, 1. Right. The last round, best round. If y'all have theme requests, as always, let me know. And, we're coming into the end of the year. It's almost Q4. So if you have any extra or any goals you want to get a jump start on, now is a great time to do it right before the holidays come, because I always say when you can change your habits during times of stress or busyness, you're definitely going to keep them for a future times. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right, we are done with those for today. Standing back up, we have high knees. 3, 2, 1. But it's definitely easier to keep habits when you create them during times of stress or busyness. It's really good to create those anchors, especially when it comes to movement. So things like walking, even taking a class, right? When you're busy, if you're stressed, you still have that habit built in, and it can help with stress relief mentally, and just really helping you take a mental break during the workday is always such a good thing to do, whether it be to do some breathing, yoga, a workout class, going to the gym, go for a walk, whatever that means for you. Definitely do that when you can. 3, 2, 1. All right. We got last 4 movements coming on up. Plank, knee to opposite side elbow. 3, 2, 1. All right. We got this. Looking up. I don't want to say up, up. We want to be looking out. I know I tend to really do this all the time. There should still be curve in our neck, even though, yes, we want one straight line. There should be a natural curve in through our neck that we definitely don't want to get rid of. And reset here. Okay. Last round, best round. Three, two, one. All right. Last half here. Narrow squats. Whew, we're doing great. I feel like those planks always get me. I don't know what it is. 3, 2, 1. It's funny because doing like the same side elbow isn't as hard as doing the opposite side for some reason. I don't know if it's just me. It very well could be. But anyways, if you have themes or anything else too that you want to work on going into the end of the year, definitely let me know. Also, if you have any like new equipment at home or anything you have that you want to start to incorporate in these classes, we don't have to do body weight. If you have other things you want me to implement, definitely let me know. I'm more than happy to throw in more midi band work. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last two movements here, bent over tees and drop squats. Now we're gonna be on the ground for our cool down. But if you have like weights or anything you want to use, definitely let me know. 3, 2, 1. Getting into our bent over tee position. I know we used to have some more classes on the schedule virtually that had weights. So if that's something you would like to see brought back in the next few months, definitely let me know. I have a little bit more flexibility to maybe add another class in there. So let me know what you like to see and I'll see what we can do. Definitely want to just make sure we're keeping up with our routines and stuff, that we're getting better, we're getting stronger. 3, 2, 1. All right. Last movement here, we have drop squats. Getting ready. 3, 2, 1. All the way up and landing. Keep our core tight. You can hold at the top for as long or as little as you'd like. I sometimes like to stay a little bit longer so I can get a little bit of extra calf workout. I know I definitely do not do that much calf work. By that much, I mean this is the most I've done, so my calves are probably going to be sore for the next few days, knowing myself. We're finishing strong here. 3, 2, 1, and that is going to be it for today's circuit. So go ahead and grab a sip of water if you need it. We're going to go ahead and do some pretzel on the ground. So making our way on the ground onto our side. You can start with whichever side you would like. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take our top leg. We're going to come up over across our body. Knee and ankle stay on the ground. Bottom hand grabs onto our top knee. Bottom hand grabs onto our bottom foot or ankle. We're going to do a nice big inhale. And exhale. Bring your top shoulder towards the ground. We're going to do a few breaths here. So really try and let your body relax. Let all your muscles in your body release. Let's go ahead and do one more breath. And once we finish our exhale, when we're ready, we can go ahead and gently release our bottom leg And then we're going to go ahead and make our way onto our other side. We have our same checklist. So once we're on the ground on our side, our top leg comes up, over, and across our body. Knee and ankle stay on the ground. Bottom hand goes on top of our knee. Top hand grabs onto our bottom foot or ankle. We're going to do a nice big inhale. And exhaling, bring our top shoulder towards the ground. So this is really where we want to make our exhales longer than our inhales. Let all the tension we feel in our body release if we can. Let's go ahead and do one more breath here. And as we finish our exhale, when we're ready, can gently release our bottom leg and gently come out of that. And then feel free to stay on the ground or return to a seated, kneeling, or standing position. That is going to be all the time I have for us today. So I hope you enjoyed our ghostly workout part 2. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I will see you again in class next week.